Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the European Invitational of Guns of Boom. I'm Liam Smith, and joining me once again on the desk is Stanis from the community of Guns of Boom and the developer of Guns of Boom, that's safe to say. And of course, Lethal at the end there. He's just our little pet, we can't get rid of him.
I'm just here, really, that's it. Just to let you guys know.
An ex-pro across Halo, and I guess we could say Asphalt you. I mean, you were a pro, right?
Yeah, I tried to hide the asphalt away a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, I took that one away. I remember you there, back in the World Cyber Games, don't worry, throughout the years. 2010, 2011 you qualified. Oh, it wasn't the greatest
career.
But Los Angeles, you were in Los Angeles?
Yeah, LA.
You were in LA, yeah. Well, obviously Los Angeles was the place we were. That was back in 2010, Harry.
That was a while
That was a while back, 8 years ago. But you guys, you could be in Los Angeles. Coming up in November is going to be another finals. You obviously seen how grand and spectacular it is here. We can see how it's going to play out there. You're going to be able to take part and compete if you fancy yourself as a top elite Guns of Pro player. Get yourself and your 3 teammates and get yourself involved. The Go Forwards will be starting out next weekend. That is going to be the 4th of August. You're going to want to get yourself signed up, and they're going to be playing out throughout every single weekend. You got to keep competing, keep getting those points, and maybe, just maybe, you could find yourself here on the stage next time. Stanis, that's what it's all about, right? Being an esports pro, getting yourself to the top level of Guns of Boom, just like we've seen back-to-back, going to be up against their opponents, JUGG, here in the next matchup. We've just seen them coming back from 2-1. We thought, ooh, is the jitters there once again? They lost got one map to YAKUZA and then slipped away. Thought, could they do it again? But they turned it around. They came back strong. And in the end, if you look at the scores, there were 2 strong maps. The one for one.
They actually, they had an opportunity and they really grabbed it. And that to say that there's a lot of opportunities on the Guns of Boom esports scene right now. And these teams are
smooth.
Okay, guys, don't bully me. But these teams are already one of the strongest. So that we have the top players, and yes, we saw the Forza lost the. Is out of the tournament, but I really feel like they can start building up on what they learned here, and they may very well be the next champion in Los Angeles, maybe if they can build up back, or in the 2nd season of Guns of Boom. So I think there's a lot to fight for.
And Harry, coming into this, obviously we just saw the momentum gain. You can see the scores there. We've just had the back-to-back versus Forza game, the losers matchup. We're now moving on to the decider at the bottom of your screen there, which is JUGG Knights of Honor versus back-to-back. Now, JUGG Knights of Honor were in the exact same situation before. They won an easy game against Forza, sat back, watched the match, came back looking a little laid back, if I'm honest, and got blown away 3-0. Now they're coming into another best of 5. They have again sat back, watched it after being destroyed by YAKUZA. No doubt about it. That was a clean 3-0. That wasn't a close run thing. Now they're coming into it against back-to-back, a team they've played many times online. Back-to-back, you know, they've been in every single final to date. I'm just saying, JUGG, you guys might need to be awake here.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely important. With YAKUZA as well, they've proved that they are the real deal. You know, it's not just a one-hit wonder they had in that last tournament. But the problem is with the back-to-back and Knights of Honor squads, these 2 teams, this is something you'd see in a grand final normally. It's very unprecedented. It's quite unpredictable. We said it even before, right at the very beginning. It's going to be one of these events where it's hard to see who a clear favourite is. Maybe still inklings from the obviously previous matches and obviously from scrim results, but I was a little bit worried because obviously with YAKUZA now in the grand final, it was quite interesting due to the fact that these guys have had 2 weeks to learn from their mistakes, but it seems that the results are slowly becoming the same compared to 2 weeks ago. But you got to remember, it's like you mentioned before with Knights of Honor, they're looking a little bit laid back, but I think now they're in the losers bracket, and then this is their one last chance, their final time to at least try and make that comeback in. Both of these teams both know that whoever wins from this needs to win 2 best of 5, so it could be a long night.
3 best of 5s.
In total, including the divisional match.
If they were to go on and win it all, because obviously this is a best of 5 now, this decider game, back-to-back, you can see setting up there, plugging in the phones, getting themselves ready and waiting to go. Obviously moving on, you know, if they were to get back against YAKUZA, they look so dominant in the final. They're going to be sat happy right now in the green room, out in the lounge, just chilling, having the coffee,
yeah,
having a biscuit, whatever they could be doing. They're in a great position right now. Whereas these guys, the pressure is very much on them. Obviously, we were talking about right at the start, Stanis, you know, coming into a studio like this, you know, the lights on you, the cameras, the jib cam, which is swinging over our heads right now, you know, all these things build up the pressure, and they've been feeling it. They've obviously had 2-3 hours now to experience it and play in that environment, but they're now in a position that if they lose this game, they're out.
Yes, of course, it certainly feels like YAKUZA adapted the best to this whole situation. They adapted the best to the whole tournament, and it feels like they are in a strong position, but this battle uphill for back-to-back and for JUGG Knights of Honor, maybe they can build up enough momentum here that they can knock YAKUZA off their top spot, and maybe we'll see a second final.
We're just waiting to see exactly what the maps are. We haven't got them updated. That's a lie. They've just popped in. So we're going to be playing on Skyscraper to begin with. So you're going to be happy with that. Obviously, we're going to get
finally TDM.
Get a bit of TDM in there, and that's going to be the first map. So momentum. We could talk about the whole knocking momentum off thing there. But then on to Subway. Actually, wow. Okay, we haven't seen that one today so far. That's been banned out predominantly. Atrium being the third map, Europe Square being the fourth, and farming again if we get there as the decider. What an epic that could be if we go all 5 maps. Last time they faced each other in a finals, it went 3-1. So we're expecting to see at least 4 maps here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one now, because considering it's now a best of 5, they realise for every single game matters. They need to take it one step at a time, because I realise with a lot of these teams it can be clean sweeps, because right at the beginning when they lose the first game, it kind of continues on from there just due to them being demoralised. But we're seeing a lot of these strategies come out, but one of the key things I want to point out is the strategic aggression. It's the fact that teams like YAKUZA always like to make them forced to make the first mistake, but these two teams like to do the same, but just not as aggressive as all these other teams. So with these two, they're very similar in many ways, but I think it's going to come to their full setup in certain objective game types, which is going to change the way of things.
And Stanis, we saw obviously in the last match, for back-to-back, it's all about the start. They get a good start, they can hold on to it, they can pull it ahead. What happens now? They're up against JUGG, a very, very strong team, if they don't get that early setup, early start that they had against Forza.
I'm hoping that as we are starting with a team deathmatch, maybe that flow will be a bit different, because team deathmatch is a lot more you win, you come back, and then I feel like team deathmatch by itself as a first map can help build mental fortitude in a way, because the control maps, they just take you in a flow where you just start losing and losing and losing, or winning and winning and winning. TDM is a lot more you win some, you lose some. Maybe we'll see something connected to that.
And Skyscraper was back-to-back's choice. Actually, it was their first choice to go on to a TDM game. Maybe, as we just said, you know, looking at that early start, maybe they've already thought about that, thinking we didn't get a good start against Forza on farm, and it kind of slipped away from us, so we need to switch things up. They've maybe looked at how YAKUZA also did it against JUGG. Obviously, they took him on that TDM game. That's where they turn things around. Where are we going with this one? I want no fence sitting. I want a quick prediction. Back-to-back or JUGG?
I would have to go with JUGG this time. I have a feeling somewhat.
Okay.
I have a feeling that JUGG would be a little stronger, but I also feel that back-to-back, if they bring themselves together and they do it really well, they can. If they can make it a long-range battle, I feel that back-to-back would have a...
With the killing machine.
With a killing machine would have a higher chance.
Yeah.
It's a real struggle now, because we know these two teams have played against each other quite a lot, but it's very, very hard to predict, because you've got Knights of Honor where, you know, in terms of their team and how they are, I'm not really too sure how they're going to play. It could be a repeat from 2 weeks ago where they do drop to that 3rd spot. But you never know. I'm not going to underestimate a team, because I swear every time I do, I find they actually start doing better anyway, so it's just one of those situations. But with back-to-back, when we've seen Killing Machine and Gonza, if those two go off in this series, I think it could go all the way. So I'm probably looking at a 3-0 or 3-1 with back-to-back.
3-0 or 3-1 with back-to-back. They are the predictions. Let's see how it plays out. Let's get over to our casters. It is going to be Ketchup and Jackie.
Thank you very much, guys. And I think the question's going to be, who is more ready for this situation? I mean, that really is the main thing to talk about, is that because this is the first major tournament for Guns of Boom, you know, this is the big one for these guys. It's what their work has been leading up to. You know, the critical point's finally been reached, and I think one of these two teams very well in losers finals could be not prepared for the stress, not prepared for the nerves, and maybe this is where it all falls apart, Jackie.
It could be the case, right? Because you look at sort of the approach that JUGG really had before. It's very sort of relaxed. They swanned in almost as sort of an aura of confidence around them. They looked quite radiant. They were happy to be here, and you could see they felt confident, obviously being the fan favorite, and internally in themselves thinking they had the possibility of being in that grand final and wanting to lock it down. But now they have seen that it's not going to be that easy. You can't just walk in and expect to deal damage. You have to give it your absolute all. You're left into that best of 5 now versus back-to-back, and I want to see a complete different change in the body language. I want to see them on the ball, everyone upright, looking ready for it, and absolutely giving it on the server, because every frag matters now.
Now, normally you would say that the pace and I think the tide of the match might get set by the first map.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's going to be foreshadowing, but I think that because we're starting things off with Team Deathmatch, I wouldn't jump the gun and say that, you know, things will be determined by this map, because it's so different to other modes. Johnny and T-Mac combined do manage to get the first little fight. John Wick actually in a bad situation, so it's no wonder we saw the cleanup there as well, and we're going back into that, you know, basically 100-0 situation that we did see previously. It's like enough. Killing Machine finally gets something.
It's a clean opening, but the response is good so far. Big tags knocking off the armor of the opposing force. They're now grouping up as well. They outnumber T-Mac massively. Ilos is coming over, but he's quite far away. But T-Mac, even in the close range angle when he's outnumbered, he's taking those firefights and still finding consistent kills. It's down to a 4 versus 3 near the center of the map as well, and they're getting off a couple of huge tags. And then the frag on Killing Machine, the adjustment as well. That could be the double.
Now, we did see momentarily Dobar was kind of in that position where if you're too far away, you straight up won't get the shot. You know, your weapon simply will not fire if they're too far away. Johnny gets a triple kill, gets John Wick down. Now we see the quick swap. Killing Machine goes down to his Deagle. That tends to be if you're in one of those kind of cooldown situations but still have to fire. Migs gets 1 kill, drops to Dobar, who feels like he's going to be a trade back-to-back. Gonza manages to get Dobar following through with that exact trade that we're so used to seeing in TDM.
John Wick keeping it on character and on brand as he will slay another man and leaves Ilos lifeless on the ground. In terms of the points, it's still fairly close right now, but it is in its early stages of this matchup. Migs, though, up close and personal. Gonza assisting him ever so slightly, but there's an instant resurgence to the opposing side where T-Mac will punish John Wick.
And I think JUGG, you know, these guys needed to have a good start, and they needed to get that early burst of momentum because, you know, they were the team everyone's kind of expecting to see in grand finals, but they can follow through, then happy days. But I really feel like back-to-back have had quite a whirlwind of an experience so far, both in the Go4s and now. Gets a surprise attack, but it's going to be just traded back and forth, 2v1. You may get the last laugh there if they try and surprise you. You just have more meat on the field.
You see as well, actually, they're actually putting the back-to-back players in their places. John Wick and Killing Machine aren't allowed to be as rampant, as ridiculous as they normally are because they're kept far back. They're not being able to peek as duos, always on the 1v1 angles, whereas it's normally this big cluster of the boys from JUGG.
But I think, again, that might be map. That might be why we've seen this map sort of be so prominent, is because, you know, the experienced teams will kind of know what areas on the map to keep other teams locked into. That grenade was no time to react there, unfortunately, for T-Mac, who just ate that one face first. Tries to go in for a grenade for a knife kill just in case, but just didn't have the health to work with it. We are seeing somewhat of a steady climb back up into the fight. I wouldn't say this is set in stone just yet.
It's definitely anyone's game. I mean, in terms of the point discrepancy, it's not that ridiculous. They can try and build to it. Back-to-back as well, grouping up now, going in. The three-pronged attack as the Triad sprint their way through and see what they can find. Migs will be able to take out Janny as he does get the shot off. John Wick with another kill as well, actually coming in quite effectively now. Migs with a double as he works out lovely.
I feel like it was just sort of like not being able to pick out targets, unfortunately, there for JUGG. You know, we saw T-Mac trying to prioritize 3, couldn't get a lock on anyone, then took damage. That's all time wasted. And throughout that entire time, T-Mac was nowhere to be seen. We can see Jani trying to go up, but eats a 2v1 for his troubles. Just wrong place, wrong time. Here comes the group fight, and Killing Machine gets 2. A grenade and a pistol? How about that?
That's crazy. A team fight and a half there. All 8 men duking it out in such close range, but Ilos, he's up top, and he's not only going to have a high skill ceiling, he's also going to be quite high up on the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. This is the map for it. Elevation is the key word. And how close is this? T-Mac gets a sniper kill. Can he win? No, I feel like he missed the shot. And that might be punished with the game loss. Dead even. We've just slightly seen back-to-back take the lead. A couple more kills will do it. 1 point separates the teams right now.
This is crazy. It's so close. Catch up in 50 seconds as well. This is going to force an aggressive mindset over these players. They need to do something, and they need to do it soon. And Jug, they're caught off guard. It's 4 men versus 1. Gonza with the double kill denies everything.
I feel like right at the last minute getting pretty much walking around a corner when 1 or 2 kills will send you out the game, and seeing an entire team lying in wait is quite possibly the last thing anyone wants to walk into. But that said, that just meant back-to-back, they had more patience, and the second they clocked Knights of Honor, it was over.
It's like that gif of Grandpa Simpson watching in, spotting Bart, and just instantly turning around and walking straight back out.
I would have actually done the one where it's Homer in the hedge and
coming out the hedge, go back in.
That would have been my personal one of choice. But you know, that said, I think that was a great display of coordination in team deathmatch, which sometimes can be hard to come by. You know, it's kind of almost seen as like the free-for-all that's not a free-for-all. But I like how in this setting, you know, we saw some super calculated decisions at the end there.
It was better as well, I'd say, from back-to-back in terms of the way they've adapted. Normally they are quite aggressive, and you do like to see that sort of Lone Ranger, Lone Wolf Pack style coming out from them in terms of the way they approach TDM, but this time it was a little bit more reserved. Towards the end especially, they wolf packed up, they played in a group, and that is what is going to give you that tactical edge. If you've got 3 men versus a duo or even a single player, your damage output is so much higher than what they can muster. You're going to get those kills.
And at the same time, prioritizing targets is difficult. You know, you can only shoot 1 person at a time, with the exception of if you've got a grenade or not. You only have 2 of those per spawn. So, you know, later on in the match, when you've kind of been surviving for a while, the chance of you having those locked and loaded is actually very, very small. So we're loading into Subway Station. Now, this is actually going to be one of the first times, again, we've seen it used on this broadcast, but it kind of goes back to the Go4s. This, for another time, is in the basic rotation. Once you kind of reach semi-finals, you have to play on this map. There's no 2 ways about it. I would lend it much closer to Paradise Island rather than a Wild West. Wild West is very, very center-focused, but I feel like Subway and Paradise Island are 2 maps that lend themselves heavily to aggressive teams. You know, if you can essentially out-frag the team, you know, night and day difference. I think, again, Subway is a wonderful map for that kind of team comp.
It's also the fact as well, the type of fights we're going to be seeing here are all going to be on the point. It's going to be constant denials, all the contesting you can imagine, because there's so many angles where you don't really have that line of sight. You can be snuck up on quite easily. It really is going to be, when you see a player, it's already too late. You're already going to be locked in combat. And maybe if we do see a little bit of sniping, it's only going to be on the outskirts of the map. I feel like the majority of this is going to be really in-your-face, high-octane action catch-up.
Yeah, it's one of those funny maps, actually, where I think the meta of the map is not played the way the geometry was built to be. You know, there are certain sniper locations that were clearly built for snipers to go up there. You see it in the quick play, but in this level of competition, you almost never see people go up there because it wastes too much time. If you're going to be at range and you're going to pick a location where you're hard to see, you're just going to use the subway carts or something very, very similar. Plus, you get a nice amount of vision on their respawn point. Now, things are very, very even. I'm going to say on Subway, be prepared for grenades and then some. This is such an AoE heavy map, and I mean, there we go. Ask and you shall receive right there.
Yeah, crazy stuff coming through. Constant nade transfers, as you're saying. All charges in. Janny will go down as Ilos gets the trade back on towards Migs. Things getting a bit more awkward, but Killing Machine with the nade. It is just the constant explosions.
And we can see Gonza and John Wick kind of hanging up that 2-man attack. Johnny gets both of them, though. That's going to be a nice, easy double. I think an early lead. Is it going to be enough? The defense, obviously defending the point, does give you extra points as well. What a turnaround! Migs, itchy on that trigger finger.
Yep, he's got good reaction times. Unfortunately, though, he doesn't have unlimited health. He is immortal, like most of us, as he will go down. John Wick with a double. But Knight's reign of terror is going to be ended as they continue to swarm their way back in. That is that sniper angle you were talking about as well. You get a glimpse of it, but as you said, it's not worth using it.
And we can see another lead. You know, it can escape you quite easily on Subway because of how fast and furious the map tends to really play out. We can see a group fight, in this case actually going in Knights of Honor's favor comfortably. Johnny getting loads of kills, but taking minimal damage. Returned by Killing Machine with a clutch headshot. Migs gets the double up behind, and this should be an easy capture. Is it going to be a triple kill? Yes, it is indeed. Migs with the right place, right time mentality.
Yeah, they all come together. It was great. You had the constant output of damage coming through from Killing Machine, the up-close aggression of Migs, who is just on a killing spree right now. He is steaming ahead.
I mean, we talk about the double gives you points, triple gives you points, killing spree gives you even more, and look at the difference difference in points now. That's what happens when you frag out of your mind. Killing Machine inevitably will drop to Dobar, but Dobar now a 1v2. This is a hard to survive situation. Can he get something off? No, John Wick gets a grenade. No damage returned. Is this going to be a double as well? It doesn't matter because Migs picks it up.
Oh, the up-close damage as well coming through. John Wick blown out of the server as he gets dunked on. The damage over time there coming through as well as Dobar sprints in. No one is on the point right now, but here comes the real fight.
This is incredibly close. One more kill is going to do it, and I feel like that's going to be such an obtainable task. Look at the difference, and just like that, John Wick getting the final kill of the movie. Who saw that one coming? And that's a 2-0. That one's significantly more dominant, I would say.
That's sort of the crazy factor there, really. It kind of played into what back-to-back are good at, and once again, I mean, if we're looking at this from just a pure confidence level, back-to-back are steaming with it. Migs, when is there a firefight he isn't willing to take?
Exactly, and it's that level of bravery that you need, because it kind of goes back to what I said a long time ago. You are on borrowed time the second you respawn in this game. Damage output, especially late game, you know, we see these weapons used for a good reason. It's always Barracuda, it's always Porcupine. Yes, we can't see other forms of like utility weapons. It has to be grenade, because that's the pro mode. It has to be regular medkits, because again, that's the pro mode. But everyone now has access to the same weapons. That's what really, I think, differentiates the top competition from regular quick play, where not everyone has the same equipment, and it's leveled up in slightly different ways. But in this competitive environment, where it's actually dead even, everyone has access to the exact same tools. It's 100% about skill and nothing else. And when you factor in the skilled team right now back-to-back with a 2-0, on the verge of a 3-0, I'd definitely be putting my money on those if I was a betting man.
Yeah, I think it's got to be fair to say, really. It's also, as well, quite transparent when you look at the scoreboard. Normally, the trend you do seem to see is if you get one player that's popping off, being the mad fragger of that game, you can take it on a game-by-game basis. Who's going to be popping off? Set them up for more frags, because you can build to a killing spree. If you can get that 4-kill streak going, if there was somehow a ridiculous lifeline where they're going to get 8 kills in a row, that's an unstoppable. I mean, that's 25 extra points. It's the fact there is so much potential on setting up your teammates. You need to understand when to just get the tags in and allow someone to get that last hit.
I mean, sometimes it can be just a matter of doing the maths, right? You kind of look at the kill difference and how, you know, the consecutive kills, you get, you know, 10 points for one kill, and then it's 12, 15, 20, 25. You know, the second they start to add up, it's a matter of double of what you got previously. Yeah. So if you can be an amazing player in King of the Hill, which again kind of goes back to how I would even say good group fights are more important in King of the Hill, because you get both the burst of points and then the control over it. But speaking of control, we're going to be taking a one-way ticket to Atrium, which we've seen in droves today. I think now we're seeing players get the choice. It's a matter of we're finding out the maps they definitely don't want to play on, but more importantly, when the chips are down and they have their choices, what maps they are totally fine competing on. Atrium being really the big one here.
Yeah, probably our most played map, really. I mean, everyone has wanted to take their firefights here, and it's been shown in the style of gameplay they're bringing to the table as well. So looking to try and open this one up early. Already quite a big lead, 50 points ahead, really, for the side of back-to-back.
Now, one thing Killing Machine is doing a really impressive job of right now is actually managing, when he knows he's dead guaranteed, getting a grenade off to do damage. Because obviously if you die and your grenade is still in the game, it can still detonate. If it can detonate, it can do the damage. So you're not going down in vain, you know, you're still, there is a purpose for your death every single time.
Oh, exactly. It's just the fact as well, you know, with those nade respawns, you're going to get nades each life. If you can use it before you expire, deal that extra damage. There's no point holding on to it just to get another 2 fresh ones.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to die and it's guaranteed, just make the most of it. You know, it kind of goes back to saying, you know, understanding that you're going to die in this game, and it's a matter of what you do when the chips are down. Killing Machine, that's just 3 kills straight for back-to-back, who now have 500 points already. Killing Machine managed to bag himself one more.
Oh, nice little flick shot coming through. Early bit of damage transferred out. Killing Machine, though, will be taken down by T-Mac, and now they're starting to spread themselves out more. Distribute around the map. John Wick in the 1 versus 1 will fall short of another frag.
Okay, we can see signs of life. Unfortunately, we see them get 1 kill here and there, but it's never enough to be significant. It's not really resulting in a point capture. It's not resulting in anything, really. They're simply respawning, and now you're weak, and you have nothing really to fight back with. Just like that, this lead is just going further and further. It kind of looks like, it would almost look like JUGG Knights of Honor are playing really well if you look at the kill feed, but it's the control. It's the fact that they consistently don't have the point that is allowing this climb to continue.
You can see as well a bit of a stalemate now towards the B site. They're just playing from behind cover, trying to use those angles to do more damage. T-Mac charges in, but it's big man Migs, and he does not mess about as he gives out digs.
and T-Mac just getting sandwiched 2 grenades at once. And I feel like the accuracy on grenades is one of the secret things you need to be good at in this level of competition, because it's so pivotal. Hitting multiple targets at once, if you can both coordinate, it does massive damage by itself. They're starting to climb back, but again, we're just constantly going back to the fact that they're out of control. And if you're out of control on this map, you simply won't win. There's not even a chance of a comeback.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Nice use of the nade there as well, but Eyeless doesn't even need it. Instead, he's just going to flick around like a lunatic. And we're starting to get a bit closer. 1,000 points to 800, but the time is not really too long left. I mean, 200 points is all they need now to close it out, and they're already racking that up pretty quickly, nearly at the first 100.
Control points is the most snowball-heavy mode of them all, and I think that's because if you hold at least 1 point and you're now kind of within this danger zone where you've got 100 points left to go, you have to make sure the other team are out of control. But if you're losing, you are out of control. So being able to simply just flick a light switch and bring it back is almost impossible. And I feel like this is going to be game over. Surely there's no way back-to-back are going to be losing this one. 1 more kill and a couple more ticks of the points, and that's going to be it. Game over. Back-to-back. Dominantly sweeping that losers finals, who are now going to get the run back for the big bucks.
Yeah, back-to-back victories for them as they swimmingly make their way through, looking calm, cool, and collective as ever. And they are going to be hyped up off the back of that one. A huge victory coming through, proving what damage they can do and showing it was a mistake they got knocked into the lower bracket.
100%, and I think it's showing how well they can, I think, step up as a community of players. Looking at the body language, though, right now, you know, obviously there's friendship all around and everyone's excited to be here, but we didn't actually see some extreme pop-offs like we did at the start of the day. I think we're starting to see our teams get a little bit more focused, and it's let's really save all that energy because they're going to need it in our next series.
That's where I think we're actually going to see the most vocal players coming out as well, because you're going into that final versus YAKUZA. You really need to bring your A game, and if there's anything that can give you an edge, I think things are going to get quite loud in here.
Now, that does leave us with 1 more series left to go, and I feel like it's insane how we're already here.
Yeah.
You know, it's been such a long time coming with the constant go-fors, the weekly cups, playing for money, playing for points, the points ultimately leaving our players here. But it has to be said, you know, we're seeing JUGG Knights of Honor out of this tournament, but they can leave this tournament with their heads held high. You know, we've constantly talked about how this is the first step. You know, this is the baby step into big competitive Guns of Boom tournaments.
Yeah.
And this team, they were the originals. They were the original top dogs. You know, and I think that carries a lot of weight with it. So they can sort of go back and revise what made them just so insanely dominant back in the day and really sort of spark that fire again. So when they can come back and maybe, you know, show us what they're made of for a second time.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, it's more so as well just the fact this is their first sort of delve into esports. You've had a good run at your first tournament. Things can only get better from here. It's not the worst placement in the world. You know, they're walking out of here. You're still going to be happy and come back next time.
Yeah, so I'm really curious as to what the guys on the desk actually had to say. So, with no time at all, take it away, boys.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, what a decisive decider we have just had. Back to back. They just sweep it through, and Lethal, look at the smile on his face. Look at the smile on his face. He called it, didn't he? He only went and called a 3-0 clean sweep. I mean, that was a very one-sided performance. I don't know whether JUGG just, after their first game, and they looked so strong against Forza, you know, 2-0 start, but they just didn't turn up from the winner bracket final to now. They've been swept 6 games without reply.
Yeah, it was interesting. That first game now, as you can see going into it, I feel like with the rest of the series, they were very deflated. Now, one thing I want to talk about especially is the fact that with back-to-back, they used the same strategy 3 times. Twice they would have 3 people snowballing round the high side to flank ground to get the high ground, and 1 person causing distraction on a low ground, so at least that way it keeps all eyes of the Knights of Honor squad to look downwards. But it's the very last part I want to talk about. It's the fact that with Knights of Honor, during that last bit where it was 481 to 480, we saw the point where they had a full setup. They had 1 member from each of the team, from high to bottom, looking everywhere, just trying to find some kind of information so they can actually flank around and push for the kill. But do you know what? It's sent to the point where back-to-back were like, no, you're not going to give you any information. We're going to have all 4 this time flank around from the high ground, and it was only the 2 kills they needed which helped them take that first map.
That's it. I mean, it's just 15 points a kill, right? And that's all that decides it. So when there's spread, you leave yourself in a 1v2, 3, 4, as in this case was a situation. So really nice tactic from back-to-back. We could hear them obviously stack behind us. They were just like, stack, wait, go. It was just like building it up. probably a little bit more erratic comms, I think it's safe to say, than YAKUZA, who they're going to be playing in the final, which was a clear voice from Mano. We're going to obviously see that in a moment. But once they moved on to King of the Hill and control points, it was just one-sided. There was not really control. I mean, it was all about Migs going off on Subway. He had, what, an 8 in a row kill, I think, spree, which just rocket propelled them up the scoreboard.
It did feel like maybe Knights of Honor sort of lost their flame at some point. That maybe they were not as gathered as they usually are, and it didn't feel to me like they were going in clear-headed. It felt like they were kind of scattered and maybe just a little bit tilting at this moment already.
But Harry, that's what it's all about, right? Tournament players, we touched on it briefly. You know, they played the first game of the day, they had a break, they came back and played the next game, they had a break, they came back and played the next game. But that's the difference, right? You're not sat at home, you're not in your comfy environment, you're not playing back-to-back. You've got to go, take a break, be a breather, but when you come back, you need to be on it.
I think they will be now. They've been playing series after series now, obviously, coming straight from that first round of loser bracket now into the grand final. So I think Jackie mentioned it before, you know, maybe a fairy tale story, you could say, but that entire series, they played so well. They played absolutely out of their minds, and their objective game types in terms of the maps and how they play is really scary. And I think even in that map 2 on Subway, you can tell they have these fixed strategies every time. If they don't have control, just put Killing Machine in one of the train carriages, at least get some damage dealt as much as possible. And even if you don't get one down, at least do enough for the other 3 to push in with any close range weaponry and then take that hill nice and easy.
Well, fantastic. We're set up for the final, ladies and gentlemen, and it is going to be back-to-back versus YAKUZA. They faced each other in the last online final as well. We'll see how this one plays out. We'll see you after the break.